Hi YouTube, how are you doing? I'm doing great. I got a photo I shared of my youngest sister. She's got fires by her house. She's been up all night, but I did share her picture. Um, Over on my Facebook is a better picture of her than it is on here on YouTube. I put it in my community. Without, and it wouldn't let me edit without going into my photos, and I didn't have the time today. So if you want to see a better shot of her, I told her I wouldn't say her name because she's tired and not at her best, but always looking beautiful. But her hair is so cool. I had to chop off, it's probably as long as mine, in braids, almost looking like dreadlocks. I love it. It's so pretty, so cute on her. Um, she's always beautiful anyway. My sisters are, you know, yeah. For I don't know a couple of my sisters on my dad's side, but the ones from my mother I know. So anyway, yeah. So if you want to see my little sister whose birthday was just on Halloween, that's you're more than welcome to join me on Facebook. There's a link um probably under my banner on my home page here, maybe under each video. Sometimes some of that information's there. So yeah, if you'd like to see. I'd like to talk about, there's too many people that have some really scum buckets for parents. There's way too many women that are almost, if not in competition, their own mothers are competing with them or torturing them. It it's almost unbelievable. The amount of it, not that it happens, even that, there's some of us ladies, we just don't get it. It's so unfeminine that it gives us creeps, the heebie-jeebies, or yeah, it creeps us out. Yeah. Anyway, my thoughts on that is to recognize the dual nature of these people like that and know that they just don't measure up. And you and I am not here to protect them from their mistakes, you know. And keep that in mind. Keep your virtue to yourself, keep your dignity to yourself, and don't let anything they say or do get you under the weather. I mean, it's hard. It's super hard, and especially if you have to have contact with people like that. But if you have a choice to where to spend your time and energy, you don't want to do it with people that are going to put a negative aspect onto you, because it sounds like you've already had enough enough of that in your I mean, when the people who are supposed to protect you and keep you safe cause you more damage than they do goodness, you have to weigh that situation, and you don't have to guess if they measure up. The second that's if there's a doubt in your mind, you already know they don't. And don't protect them from the dumb things they're going to do. I mean, you can stop them if you're talking to them. They're very manipulative if you can get a word in, or just by way of ignoring anything rude that they might say. Just don't respond, or tell them, like, that's a good opinion. I'll forget as soon as possible, thanks. Something sort of smooth, but tell them the truth, like, it doesn't matter to me what you say, but I'll keep my dignity while you exhibit your lack of it, you know, something like that maybe. Depends on if you're in a dangerous situation. If you say that to a psychopath, that's also a narcissist that is into sadism. You might have to battle for your life. It depends on how skilled you are, whether or not you're going to open your mouth. Some people do it even if they're not skilled. I've seen that. I have seen that. Wow. It's amazing. That was my attitude when I was a little kid, and I'd end up getting hurt. But then when I got to be a more skilled warrior, I wasn't the one getting hurt, and then I'd say whatever I wanted, like I always did anyway, without getting hurt, you know? So, cheers, everybody. Yeah. And just keep that in mind. Their virtue isn't there. They don't have any. Their morality. I mean, you can have morality within a given group that's all scum. Y'all have the same moral standings, you know, but if you're talking about virtues and righteousness and natural manners and thoughts of other people and uh, concern for the world like that, and those types of virtues are irreplaceable, and it's easy to spot those that don't hold those closely. you know that's the key right there. You can recognize them by their deeds. You can recognize them by their words, you know even if they're lying. You get that feeling, like there's something there. I mean, when you first meet somebody, you have to determine for yourself who that person is. And if you don't work more on that instinct, that becomes dangerous in this world. So don't let anybody tell you that you would be wrong in any extreme if it feels off. What you think matters more than what anybody else thinks at that point. So you go with your instincts no matter what, or who, you know. It could be family that you're in danger from. It's like when I moved up here, it was with a girlfriend of mine and Doug, and I was in actual physical danger. And really, I could have stayed. I owned my own home, but I had a lot of issues going on that it just wasn't a healthy, safe place for me. And I knew a lot of people up around this area from my teenage years, so that's what I decided to do was move up here and then start building a life, or trying to, you know. There might be a bit of an interruption. It won't be a big deal. I know in a while here, Doug's gonna go, up north a ways. He's got to pick up I think it's a rear end for one of his vehicles that he's building, or parts that he needs, or something. So yeah. And 007, not sure if he'll be joining us on our chat. If he when we start chatting, I'll ask him, or I'll prepare him when we decide on the time, I'll let you do that pretty much. If it's like before noon my time, not good. I even in the mornings if I'm not kind of tired, I still need to get stuff done before I take more energy that I might not recover from for the rest of the day. Like when I'm done, I'm done. So I got to get my other stuff done here before I feel free. I won't feel good about doing anything. So anyway, I made a turkey yesterday. I cooked a turkey, not made one, yeah, language. So, anyway, it turned out great. It was so juicy, and I made homemade stuffing to go with it, and that was good. That's it, though. No gravy and potatoes, all that. It was just a minute here. Yep, I'm making a video. You can say hello. No, go ahead. I told him there might be. First time I seen Bob or Nellie not big. Oh, they're so full, turkeyed out. Oh, cool. Yeah, our cats, they enjoyed some turkey too. I took about, at least a half of a turkey thigh, a big chunk, and cut it up for them, and they had a bunch of juice. And before that, I took the giblets and I microwaved them for them and chopped them up as small as I could without getting too crazy. 'Cause like the gizzard, it's hard to cut. So anyway, yeah. So they're so full. They're usually begging Doug for a treat in the morning and at night. So he gets some stuff like, salmon or tuna or cans of turkey or, stuff, chicken. Yeah. Plus they have their crunchies and milk and whatever, you know. So anyway, what was on my mind is just not letting, a person has certain personality traits that are the dark triad, tetrad. Sadly, the sadism was added onto the DM, the medical books for mental illness. And when you know the people that you care about that don't care about you have these dark tetrad personality traits, it's easier to guard yourself against that because you know what they are and who they are and the way they operate, you know. So it doesn't make it pretty, but it does make it a little easier. But the saddest thing in that I can imagine in a daughter's life. See, I knew my adopted mom was my adopted mom. What freaked me out is when I met my real mother and she was so much like my adopted one. That blew me away. But for being the natural daughter of a mother like that, I cannot imagine the heartache. It's like my daughter in law had those types of things with her mom and not being protected from her and those types of things. I can't imagine knowing I'm blood related to somebody that doesn't care about me, you know? I mean, it didn't make it feel any better for me being adopted, you know. I would say maybe on the same level in a different way, but it's still so unwomanly and unmotherly and just nasty. These women out there that are not really women. They don't have the amount of estrogen you have, ladies. They just don't. It's obvious. It's something you develop, you know. when you start getting older and you're going through the change, then you realize when the estrogen wanes, you can recognize that the introduction of the testosterone and estrogen mixed within the human body is not a natural thing. I mean, they're going to tell you it is, but I'm telling you it's not. So just put that in your pipe and smoke it for a second. And think about it. It's the same when men get older and their testosterone lowers, and then they can feel the estrogen more than they did before. And that's what's going on with people. Man needs these twistomatics. I'll just call them people that like to twist things on this planet are sure going to use the hormones when they don't want to talk about the chromosomes, you know, against you. But you have a set patterns of chromosomes the way you were born, and that's who you were born to be without the intervention of the mixing of that is what they did. It can come into and handy for great understanding, or it can be used against you as the greatest weapon, you know, like getting in touch with, like, I need to get in touch with my masculinity. Why would I want to do that? I can look at a man and say, that's a man. I don't need to find one inside myself. Usually. And like a man, they're going to see a woman and say, well, that's a woman. I'm a man. There's a clear difference here. Wonder why that is. Maybe it's for procreation, that attraction, that desire that they'll use against you or I. Yeah. That's why I put all that in the hands of God, and these little bastards are not going to use any of this against me. Um, when a person tries to shame or hurt another person, they end up doing that right to themselves. And it's just a matter of time. It's in there. You can see it bubbling and boiling in there. It's just like a narcissist that does something just they're gross. They're just grody, you know. And you just have to witness that and you're like, okay, well, you know, I you know what I mean. They'll get theirs in the end. Right then and there, do they feel shame? I know they do not. But they don't have to feel shame in order to have consequences to their actions. And when they don't measure up, there's consequences to that. And like I say, I'm not here to protect you from your mistakes. You either learn now or you're going to have to do it again. And I really don't care. I just can only present information to people. And if they're not capable of grasping that from the best source on the planet for different reasons like that, then you are not worthy of my time and energy, and I will ignore you because you're not worth that to me. I'm going to concentrate on those minds that do go deeper for everybody and leave the rest in the dust. To dust. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. You know? And really, When you look at a narcissist, especially a narcissist mother, you have to think that ashes to ashes, dust to dust, because the dust they came from and dust they will go back to. People are going to find out there are two types of humans. Some are made out of clay, and others are made out of steel. And clay does not cling to steel. It can't. Steel's too smooth. Try it. Take a steel nail and go out in the clay and poke it down in there. Just like making a poke cake, if you've ever done that. I haven't, but I've seen them. It's like poking a toothpick or a knife in something that you bake. Your steel knife or that wooden piece, but it usually, steel knife it's you bake a cake, stick the knife in, it's not going to stick. And if it did, you can wash it off anyway. It's not going to hurt that steel. And that's what that's all about. It's not mixing the two, it's the separation of it. It's already been mixed. To give those the opportunity to learn where they will or where they won't. It'll be okay. Everything's going to be okay. I know that there'll be a great gathering of the ones that are um, being impeded and um, trampled on and scorned and undervalued. Um, all those things that these narcissistic personalities do to us. But it's just their dual nature and that they don't want to control. Adults control themselves where and when they want. And you have to keep that in the front of your mind at all times. If you let down your guard around one of these monsters, they will take advantage of it. They also will try and be like really sweet for like even longer than you ever saw them do that, and then hit you with a bomb later on just for the joy of doing that. So when it happens over and over and over again, after a while, you're in a bomb shelter. You're just looking out this bomb proof window at these people setting off bombs and polluting their own souls, their environment. So, and everybody else that's around them, they're proud of their negative nature. They're even more proud when they can put you in that state of mind, too. Don't let them do it. Oh, just detach, you know. It's kind of like your turn to cut the umbilical cord on them, you know. It's like they didn't appreciate the cornerstone, the foundation, so you remove that corner of the building that they wanted to build on top of you, and they crumble because they messed with the wrong piece, you know? And that's exactly how it is. Don't forget that. That missing piece in their foundation makes the whole thing faulty. And that, my strong, sweet friends, that's you. That's who you are. cream of the crop, creme de la creme, best of the best. Just real quick, I think I listened to P Funk. Um, I think his last name and my little sister's birth name, her father's name is the same as yours, so I could be a relative. Jerry, same name as Mr. Funk, your last name. That's my little sister's dad. He was a boxer. So is my brother, like his father was. And, you know, so anyway, from Minnesota, went to California, ended up in Texas. Yeah. My little sister's country place has got fires coming close to it. So I'm hoping that it doesn't, because she planted, her and her husband, but mostly my sister, planted pine trees on their property where it was all burnt out from before, and she calls her place. Oh no, I can't. I'm not saying your name, sissy. Not today. Another day. But anyway, and I have before, if you recall it. But yeah, so my thoughts are with you, big time. I was able to get a hold of our friends, Doug's friend Constantine in Russia. So I Facebook friended him, so he accepted. So I can get messages to Doug, and Doug is going to make another Facebook account called, like our shop used to be called Peyton Place. So like painting, only Peyton. And that's a play on words because their first soap opera that was kind of a drama was well, it actually was like a slut fest, but it was called Peyton Place. If some of you are old enough to remember that, I was little and I was just like, this, yeah, that's how people act, you know. So anyway, yeah, I had a company too. Mine was just called Larson Drywall. That's that was some hard work, but it was good money when my kids were young. I'd take them. One time, I was in the other room, and my oldest one would do sweeping and make extra money, and he would collect the copper and the wire and different things and pieces um, of scrap for extra money. You know, little entrepreneur there. But my youngest one, um, I gave him a hammer and some nails, uh, a drywall hammer, you know, kind of a medium-sized one. I mean, both my kids could use a hammer even, and wrench on things when they were pretty young. But I'm in the other room and I almost have this whole room all done, and I hear tap, tap, tap. I had done this closet. It was beautiful, and closets sometimes are in under stairwells and stuff are really hard to do for people if they're not a contortionist, you know, for real. And I got this closet all done that nobody else could really do. But I hear this, and I think him and his brother are in this room. You know, they had like treats, and I'd take like a sleeping bag and a picnic area, and I'd get a spot all cleaned out for them if it was dusty or drywall or whatever, and get them a safe spot next to me where I could hear them in a house, just like in the other room. But I hear this tap, tap, tap. I go in here. Here's my little guy. He must have been 5-year old in the closet. I had just got done tapping. I mean, there was about, oh, maybe a dozen holes by the time I realized that's coming from not the right area in the house where somebody else would be working. So I went in there, and there he was poking holes in the drywall I had just put up a few hours before that. He did a really good job too of destroying one piece. I replaced it, but I'm like, no, you can't do that. He didn't know, but tripped me out. I was like, oh, you can use a hammer pretty good. He would pound it in part way and take it out. And when I caught him, he was pounding it and then moving it and making another hole. You know, that's funny. Yeah. He was shocked that he wasn't doing the right thing. Yeah. Little kids. We all had a pretty good laugh about it, actually. His brother tried to give him a bad time, but yeah, it was funny in the end. Anyway, I'm going to get this uploaded. I just wanted to talk to you all about that dual nature in people, that they're rude, they can't shake it, it's who they are. Just get used to it, or protect yourself from it, is what I mean by getting used to it. You don't ever get used to it, but you can shield yourself from it. It's a separation of emotions, um, and understanding the psychology behind the people we're talking about. So I love you all. I appreciate you joining me. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA. Have a good night or day wherever you're at.